that He will take us higher, higher. Don't you know you're radiant like the sun? We can feel your fire, fire. Don't you know you're radiant like the sun? That He will take us higher, higher. You're radiant.
Birmingham. Today is Tuesday, January 10th, 2023. The time is 9:33. I call to order the meeting of the Birmingham City Council. This morning we will have the invocation led by Reverend Timothy Woods, pastor of Hopewell Missionary Baptist Church, and our Pledge of Allegiance will be led by Councilor J.T. Moore. If you're willing and able, please stand and join us. Thank you.
Shall we pray? Gracious God, we thank you for this day. This is the day that you have made, and we will rejoice and be glad in it. We thank you for this, our city. We ask now your blessings upon this city, our mayor, all of the officiary, every department, all employees. We pray and ask, oh God, that you would allow them to be filled with your Holy Spirit. Allow your Holy Spirit to do its job, not only as comforter, not only as controller, but even as convictor. Give us wisdom and give us knowledge to apply it. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Salute pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much, and thank you, Reverend Woods, for leading us in that prayer. Thank you so much. Good morning, Mr. Clerk. At this time, would you call the roll?
Good morning, Madam President.
Good morning.
Councilmember Abbott. Councilmember Clark.
Present.
Councilmember Moore. Good morning, sir. Councilmember O'Quinn. Councilmember Tate.
Good morning,
Good
President.
morning. Councilmember Williams. Good morning. Councilmember Woods. Council President Pro Tem Smithman. Good morning, President Alexander.
Good morning. Thank you. The minutes are not ready, councilors, from August 16, 2022 through January 3rd, 2023. Do we have any communications from the mayor? Good morning.
Good morning, Madam President, Madam Pro Tem, members of the council, and members of the public. The mayor will be coming in, so I'll probably start and he'll take it over. Just for everybody's information, City Hall is closed for MLK Makeup Day. City Hall is closed for MLK, but we do need to share the Makeup Day for trash pickup. In observance of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s holiday, the City of Birmingham offices will be closed, except for police, fire, and 911. Residents in the uniform, punning to the mayor.
Keep going.
Good morning, Mr. Mayor.
Good morning, Madam President. Good morning to the council. Thank you, Chief Sparks. Where'd you leave off?
Trash.
Oh, you're giving them a friendly reminder about the uniform trash bans.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Perfect.
So, at this time, how about this? I want to call up Madam Pro Tem Crystal Smitherman, as well as Abby Grace Worrell, as well as Jamie Willett, and everyone else here related to the Human Trafficking Awareness Month. All partners, all friends invested in making sure we eradicate this, not only from our city, but our world. Please come up. And Madam Pro Tem is first.
No, you're fine. Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
So this is probably my fourth year doing this now. But January, we always have declared it as Human Trafficking Awareness Month. My resolution is to declare Birmingham anti-human trafficking free zone. I think it's important to acknowledge the work that the Junior League has done over the years. I'm sure Abby Grace can tell you all the statistics, but to really say that, Alabama has really made a difference in people's lives. And so I really just want to publicly tell this committee, which I'm a part of, thank you for all that you do. Thank you for your perseverance, your determination to keep going, no matter if it's the World Games, if it's January, and they still have a lot of good events going on. I am wearing blue, and I think a couple of us are, but I think we're a day early. So tomorrow is Wear Blue Day, and it's in honor of Human Trafficking Awareness Month. So I'm going to punt it to Mr. Mayor, because literally my resolution just says declaring Birmingham anti-human trafficking free zone.
Do you want to go ahead and
So move.
second?
Okay, this is for UC. All in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Move the item.
Second.
Okay, all in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
I want to start by thanking Pro Tem Crystal Smitherman for her advocacy, passion, and intentionality on this conversation and topic and issue. As stated today, we have representatives from Child Trafficking Solutions Project, as well as Junior League and other organizations for the work they are doing to address human trafficking. As stated earlier, we have, I mentioned two by name, Abby Grace Worrell and Jamie Willett, who will present the proclamation too. What I want to do is read a portion of it. I will not read it in its entirety. And then I want to have them come up, and any other departments at a minimum come up, introduce their name, their organization, and their name. And it states, whereas, even though awareness of this crime is growing, human trafficking continues to go unreported due to its isolating nature, the misunderstanding of its definition, and the lack of awareness about its indicators. And whereas increased community education on how to identify victims of human trafficking, along with increased knowledge of local resources and services for those affected by these criminal actions, can help restore freedom and dignity to identified survivors, as well as help diminish the number of future victims. And whereas the efforts by our local communities to promote the yearly observance of Human Trafficking Awareness Month in January enacts one of the examples of an ongoing commitment in the United States, as well as the state of Alabama, to increase awareness of and to actively eradicate human trafficking. Now, therefore, I, Randall L. Wood, the Mayor of the City of Birmingham, along with the Birmingham City Council, do hereby proclaim January 2023 as Human Trafficking Awareness Month in Birmingham, Alabama, and encourage all residents to become more informed about ways to prevent, to recognize, and to respond to potential victims of human trafficking in our community. Thank you. And at this time, first up, we have, who's first?
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for having us, and thank you so much to the council for your constant support in fighting against human trafficking. My name is Abby Grace Worrell, and I am the chair of the Anti-Human Trafficking Committee for the Junior League of Birmingham.
Good morning, Council and Mayor. I'm Susan Crow with the Children's Aid Society of Alabama, home of the Child Trafficking Solutions Project. And your proclamation today and declaring this month Human Trafficking Awareness Month, we hope will do so much to educate our community so that we may rescue more victims and prosecute more offenders. So thank you for your commitment to this very important cause.
Hi, I'm Pamela Raspberry with Trafficking Hope, and we just want to say thank you so much for your commitment to help us in this fight to eradicate this horrible crime. So thank you so much.
I'll just play. Madam President and Council, that concludes our presentation for Human Trafficking Awareness Month.
Thank you very much. I do want to thank you, Mayor Whiffen and Pro Tem Smitherman, for continuing to keep this in the forefront and helping us to make people aware of how this harms not only our children, but young ladies and what it does to our community. And I do want to thank the officials. We know that events like the World Games can bring on human trafficking and help to perpetuate it. And I want to thank those officials, law officers who helped to manage that during the World Games. And I think it's during our awareness, because sometimes we may be out there and this is going on right in front of us. So thank you all for bringing that to us. Thank you so much.
Also, I'm going to have to give a shout out to one of my favorite colleagues, Hunter Williams, because he also does a lot of good work in the background with our federal agencies and with Doug Gilmore. So I want to say thank you, Hunter Williams, as well.
Thank you, Hunter Williams.
Thank you all so much. All right, Madam President and Council, there is one more note I need to share. We did not go into detail about the uniform trash ban, so if you bear with me, I want to come back and share some things I think is important, as well as to continue to put on repeat. And that is a reminder of the uniform trash new system we have. As a reminder for the 20,000 households using the new uniform garbage carts, please remember that garbage must be bagged and placed inside the complimentary 96-gallon cart. If it is placed on the ground, beside the cart, or on top of the cart, it will not be picked up. Again, it must be inside. Residents using the new cart should place their carts in front of their home. Any household garbage placed on the ground in alleys or on the ground in front of the residents will not be picked up. You can receive more updates by going to birminghamal.gov/pickup. Again, that's birminghamal.gov/pickup, or by texting BHAM Ready. Again, that's BHAMREADY to 888-777. Madam President and councilors, that concludes the mayor's report.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. At this time, Mr. Clerk, would you read the items that are considered for consent?
Okay. Our consent agenda today starts on page number 2, and we have items 1 and 3 on consent. Page 3, we have items 4, 5, and 6 on consent. Page 4, items 8, 9, and 10 are on consent. Page 5, items 11, 12, 13, and 14 are on consent. On page 6, we conclude with items 15, 16, and 17. Oh, I'm sorry. On page 10, we have item number 18 as well.
All right. Thank you. Councilors, at this time, are there any items that you would like to add or remove from consent? Mrs. Abbott?
Excuse me, I'd like to remove item 9 from consent.
That's item 9 on page 4.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Mr. Moore?
That was the item I was going to remove.
Thank you. Any other items, councilors? All items designated as consent are routine and non-controversial and will be approved by one motion. No separate discussion of these items will be permitted unless a council member, the mayor, or citizen interested in a public hearing so requests. If so, such items will revert to its normal place on the agenda order of business. All matters of permanent operation will be read. All other matters will be announced by reading the item number only. All public hearings will be announced. Councilors, can I entertain a motion and second for approval of the consent agenda?
Second. All right, so Councilor Abbott and Councilor Williams. Voting should be open right about now. Council Pro Tem Smitherman is out. All right, that vote should be open.
All right, thank you. Those items have been approved for consent. If you were here for any item that was listed as consent, it has been approved. We hope you have a great day, and we will continue with the rest of the agenda. Mr. Clerk.
All right, so we start with item 2. An ordinance authorize the mayor upon receipt of payment in the amount of $2,989.27 to execute a quitclaim deed to Alton Monroe, for the sale of property legally described as Lot 14, Block 40, Mason City, Map Book 6, page 8, in the Office of the Judge of Probate, Jefferson County, Alabama, parcel ID number 2900 164021 City account 5979 and located at 2001 15th Place Southwest, Birmingham, which is required by the city upon foreclosure of municipal improvement liens in accordance with Section 3-1-4C of the General Code of the City of Birmingham. And this is an item of permanent operation. We want to pass it today. I need UC first. Okay. All in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. All right, item is before you.
All right. Thank you. This was recommended by the Director of Finance, and this is an ordinance to execute a quick claim deed. Any questions for administration? Yes, Ms. Clark.
You know, we have an interest in a lot of properties across Birmingham through our code enforcement, especially demolitions. And I know that when we do the foreclosure, it says acquired by the city upon foreclosure of municipal improvement liens according to section whatever. I know that when we do that, we don't really clear title, we just secure our interest in the property. And when we deed these to an interested party, is the amount that's set the exact amount we spent on the code enforcement action, or is it set? What other factors go into setting this price?
Attorney
I can
King.
have Attorney Jim Stanley or Attorney Abrams come down. They are on their way.
Thank you.
Okay, and I just also wanted to note that we are possibly pursuing some legislation that would allow us to foreclose and clear the title, and so that's of interest to me as we really try to eliminate blight in our neighborhoods. And if we wanted to move on until, like, would we have to table this until someone comes?
Yes.
Okay. Is it? I don't know how quickly they'll get here, so.
Table it. Okay, so we have a motion to table the item.
Second.
Anyone make the motion?
I move to table
Okay.
item 2.
Who's second? Okay, all in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, all right.
Thank you. We'll table this item. We'll go to the next item, Mr. Clerk.
Give me one sec. So next, looks like we'll be going to item number 7.
Yes.
A resolution appointing 2 members to the Industrial Development Board, one term expiring April the 10th, 2024, and one term expiring April the 10th, 2026.
Mr. Williams.
Thank you, Madam President. The 2 names that have come through Economic Development Tourism Committee are David Turner, who will be replacing Stanley Turner, no relation, who resigned in September of 2022. David's term will expire on April the 10th, 2024. The next individual is Reggie Coleman, replacing Willie Casey, whose term expired April 10th of 2020. Mr. Coleman's term would expire on April the 10th of 2026.
All right, thank you, councilors. You've heard the report from the Economic Development Committee appointing 2 members to the Industrial Development Board. Is there a motion and a second?
So moved.
Second. Yeah.
I'll take Councilor Clark for the second.
Yes.
All right, to confirm those appointees, the motion and the vote should be up. All right, that vote should be out.
Thank you, and we welcome these 2 members to the IDB, the Industrial Development Board, Mr. Turner and Mr. Coleman. Thank you all for the work done by your committee to select these and for these residents stepping up to serve. Thank you so much. We'll go back now, councilors, and can we open back up the item?
Motion to
And we need a motion for that, to move it off the table.
I move to move item number 2 off the table.
Okay, all in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, all right, item is back before you.
All right, thank you. Attorney King.
Have Attorney Stanley come forward.
Yes, to the council, Jim Stanley from the Office of the City Attorney. I believe it was Councilor Clark's question, and I just heard a part of it. But you were asking about the amount we're paid on the transfer of the interest?
Yes.
Yeah. Under the provision in the City Code, I think it's 314C, these are payments to the city after there's been a foreclosure. There's a 2-year right to redeem. After that 2-year period, a person with an interest in the property can come to the city, and basically they make us whole. They pay the amount of the lien, the incidental cost of foreclosure, and then there's interest at 6%. So that's the amount that's paid. It's all calculated by the finance department, and that's what they pay.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Stanley. Any other questions? All right, councilors, we're ready for the vote.
All right. Also remember, all right, got it.
All right. Thank you. Item 2 passes. Next item, please.
Okay, item 9. A resolution accepting and approving the bid of Pallet PBC Everett, Washington for the transitional housing for the homeless as needed at the unit prices on file in the Office of the Purchasing Agent for a period of 1 year, guaranteed with the option of renewal contingent upon council approval for the Community Development Department, this being the most responsive and responsible bid submitted. Motion. Second. Item before you.
All right, thank you very much. This item was also presented at, or there was a presentation made on this item at Budget and Finance. So, Mr. Mayor, would you lead us in this presentation concerning this item? Thank you.
Absolutely, Madam President and Council. Good morning to you. As Dr. Megan Venable Thomas comes in, as well as her team and other team members that touch this project, as you know, we had a good conversation with the Budget and Finance Committee meeting yesterday, as well as we've had significant conversations with individual councilors as well around the importance of this opportunity. It's past time. It's been time that we find a more aggressive way to approach how do we support our neighbors who need shelter. I'm very proud of the team for the work they've done. And so what I want to do now is have Dr. VT come up and, I guess, give a presentation again, and then we'll open it up from questions and answers, and we'll just go from there.
Thank you very much. Dr. VT, good morning.
Good morning, Council. Very excited to be before you again to talk about the Home for All program. In particular, today we're talking about the purchase of the micro shelters, but I want to give a high-level overview about the why we're doing this, the why we're choosing this approach, and the type of impact that we believe it would have on our community and on the city of Birmingham. So I have a presentation to share. And it starts a little bit with high level, like what we're presented with, which you all know, I'm sure very well, that there's still a challenge with our homelessness population. And although we are doing better as far as folks getting into transitional housing, we're seeing that we still have an increase in our unsheltered population, right? So even though there's a decrease in folks who are sheltered, meaning they're in homes, they're in some sort of emergency shelter, there's an increase in folks who are on the street. And that's really critical, because, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about why that is critical, but why we're focusing on this program in particular at this time. So if you go to the next slide, you can see that we have about 342 folks who are unsheltered, and 267 of those folks are chronically homeless, which means that they've experienced 1 or 2 incidences of being in emergency shelter but have returned to unsheltered life, and that they need significant wraparound services in order to be able to stay in shelter. And so for us, that means as we're thinking about what types of programs and projects will work to meet the needs of our population, how we're thinking about wraparound services is really critical. So if you go to the next slide, this is from our partners at One Roof. This is some 2022 data you can see here in point in time. So it talks a little bit about who our community is, right? And so our community is homeless veterans, it's families, it's youth, but in particular, it's chronically homeless. And so if you look down at the bottom left graph here, you can see that we have a significant portion of our population that are in emergency shelter, which is thanks to all of our public service providers whom we support in our community. But there is also almost an equally amount of folks that are unsheltered. And so we're really focusing in on that group to think about how we support them. If you go to the next slide, we're thinking about public health. This is, as we know, homelessness is not just a housing issue. Housing is part of the problem, but it's not the only problem. And so our solutions also have to be really comprehensive and holistic as we're thinking about our approach, which means it needs to include health services and other wraparound services. So as we can see here, we have a significant portion of our population within the unsheltered community that are experiencing substance challenges, mental health conditions, and physical health conditions, and a significant portion of those that are experiencing all three. So when we think about that approach, again, we have to be thinking about not just the homes, but also the services that will be provided. If we go to the next slide, you'll see that shelter really makes a difference, right? So here we see that folks who are in shelters have significantly less of those conditions than those who are unsheltered. And so I just bring this forward because we need to understand how critical this is. So if we ask ourselves why now, it's because people are being impacted, and that impact is being exacerbated by their ability to be sheltered or not. Ultimately, we want to be able to have a world where we see people's potential and not their past that's holding them back. And so this is why we're thinking about how we do this approach. Principles for success. So there's significant data out there that talks about what works and what works well. And so this leads a little bit to why we're choosing this approach. One is that we understand that partner-led interventions are some of the most significant that help us reach our goal. A city alone, institution alone cannot do this work and do it successfully. And so this is why we're really going to be focusing on our partnerships and how we support and uplift those partnerships through the ways in which we are supporting with our economic resources. Two, we also understand that some of our individuals are not immediately ready for long-term placement. So we need opportunities for transition that prepares people to be placed in something that's more sustainable, which means that those wraparound services are really critical to getting on a pathway to home. And home can mean many different things. For some folks, that's permanent supportive housing. For some, that's home ownership. But that home ownership is not the goal always for everyone that's most significant and that can meet their needs. Lastly, case management. What we understand is that a pathway to permanent housing with consistent case management is what leads to the best long-term outcomes. And so that's a really critical component to what we're thinking about for our program, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. So Home for All is the program which first, again, coming before you today, is the immediate need for sleeping for our neighbors hardest hit by housing challenges, which are the micro shelters themselves. How do they have an opportunity for safe sleeping? A place that provides stability and safety, which means they have their own non-congregate housing that they can enter and really start to help them feel like they have a place that's their own, that prepares them to be able to transition into something that's more permanent. The additional components of this program are really to decrease barriers to community residents and our partners to provide viable solutions, which help to strengthen the capacity of our public service providers to do this work operationally and programmatically, to create that pathway of permanent housing with consistent case management, which we understand works best, to be able to create a pilot that not only we are serving an immediate need, but also are able to learn from, so that we understand how operationally and programmatically this type of work happens and what is needed to make it work in a more sustainable way in a brick and mortar housing opportunity, which we will see also soon in the future. But it also allows us to build a community of practice of providers that are able to work with one another to understand what works best in this community. So we're also building community amongst our providers as well as our residents. So just to give you a little bit more about what this approach is doing, we understand that there's kind of a pathway that helps people transition from being on the street into something that is more permanent. And along that pathway, there are multiple places that they can enter. And that is one, temporary and emergency. There's transitional. There's permanent supportive, which allows support for more sustainable housing. And then there's home ownership, which for many is desired, but doesn't meet the needs for everyone. We've focused a lot of our energy. You've seen us up here before in the last couple of months really hammering down on home ownership. What are the opportunities that we're making available for people to own homes? So you've seen that in Woodlawn, in Oak Hill, you've seen that with Shadowbrook recently, and with our Choice Neighborhoods Initiative grant. With wraparound services there too, around educational assistance that prepares people to become homeowners. We need that same kind of wraparound service and education that prepares people to go from living on the street to be able to live in something more sustainable. And this program is really helping us to think about that. We've also focused a lot of our energy and resources on the temporary side. So in our emergency assistance, we provide up to $800,000 for our public service providers doing this work in community annually, as well as we've supported folks like Firehouse, as well as the Way Station, to develop housing that is emergency shelter. The place where we're really needing more resources is the middle of this pipeline, which is transitional and permanent supportive. As you saw on that first slide, there's about 172 folks that are in transitional housing, but we still have upwards of 342 that are unsheltered. Where is the opportunity for there to be transitional housing? That's what we're proposing here with this pilot. And that's the focus. So if you go to the next slide, pallet shelter, we did a bid, an open bid for providers for micro shelters. And pallet shelter is the provider that we're selecting here and that we're bringing before you today. And the reason that we're doing that is for a number that you'll see to the side. One was choice. The opportunity for residents to be able to choose how they want to live within their shelter. And that was a big thing that we heard from our community, from our folks experiencing homelessness. Being able to have the opportunity to make the choices about what's happening in their space is critical. And in many of our emergency shelters, that's not an opportunity that's available because it is congregate, right? So when we think about what is needed to get on a pathway to success, we want to think about how folks have choice. Cost. Even though this might feel expensive, the resources that they'll be providing, and we'll give you a breakdown of that in a moment, is for the amount that we're getting and all the things that are incorporated, it's really a great cost for what impact it's going to have in our community. Comfort, being able to provide the comforts that people need and everyone deserves. The speed of deployment, how quickly we could set these up, again, understanding how critical this need is. The ease of maintenance, how we're able to have longevity with these, as well as the ability to relocate, which allows us the opportunity to continue to use these around our city as we think and want to. If you look at the next slide, Pallet is really a leader in this space, which is why we wanted to go with someone who was not just creating a good product or a quality product, but also that had the type of technical assistance provision that could support us in applying this type of product in our community in a way that could be successful and impactful. And so we see here that they've supported over 4,000 people across the country. They've built 63 different villages. They've made over 64 cabins. And so they really have a tested product and a tested process that we really wanted to listen to as technical experts to think about how we would do our own program here in Birmingham and what would work for our residents. So a little bit more about what is Pallet Shelter. We do have a video that we can show if you would like to see it.
Yes.
in a closer view of what the shelters themselves look like. Again, we would have one bed in each, which would allow for additional space within the unit for a desk, a chair, other things that a person might want to have in their unit. You can also see that there's the heating and cooling. If you go to the next slide, it kind of points out each of the features that are included within the shelter. If you go to the next slide, you can see the standard 2-stall bathroom, which includes a shower and a toilet. And if you go to the next, and so there's 2 separated by 2 doors, so there is a private space that you would go in for the showers and the toilet. And if you go to the next slide, you can see the ADA accessible, which are the bathrooms that we'll be purchasing to ensure it meets the needs of our folks. If you go to the next slide, you can see here kind of a list of tools. I listed this because I think it's important to note how simple and effective they've made this product. That it really has an opportunity for, they'll do all of the setup and application and assembly, but it's also an opportunity for us to employ workforce in any ways that we might, to employ local contractors to support, or even have neighbor labor, which I like to call it, to get our community out to engage in being able to put these together, which we've seen in other communities that they've employed that, along with this arts and culture piece, which is incorporated in some of our plans for the future setup. And if you go to the next slide, you can see the high-level breakdown of the cost. So our plan is to purchase 50 of the 64-foot pallet shelters. There are 5 ADA accessible bathrooms and 3 community rooms, which allow for additional space on whatever site it might go on to have different community resources, also a place to do wraparound services if that is what folks want. The order includes the assembly service, shipping and handling, electrical kit, the folding bed, custom mattress, as well as heating and cooling. And as you can see, this fund would come from our Community Development Block Grant, which is funded federally by HUD. It is a program that we steward and receive funds for annually, which in particular is to focus on folks in our community who are most distressed at income levels that need support around affordable housing. And so I mention that because this part of our community is the most critically impacted within the community that we are told to serve. And I think that is important because we want our approach in this Department of Community Development to center our most impacted residents in our community. And so if we're not focusing on our homelessness and folks who are experiencing homelessness, then we're missing a critical component to how we're supporting the community that we're told to serve. And so I wanted us to focus our approach on centering them because we understand when we invest in those that are most impacted, all boats rise. And that's really what equity is about. If you go to the next slide, you can see a breakdown of our next steps. And so today, pending the approval of council, we will be releasing our request for proposals, which is for our operational and programmatic providers to apply with proposals for how they would want to take up any micro shelters on sites that they will put into the proposal, and with recommending wraparound services that they would want to apply on their site. So our operational providers will be the ones who will actually be maintaining the micro shelters, maintaining the programming that's happening on site, as well as the outcomes. And so once our RFP is released, we'll be having several public meetings to be able to engage with folks who are interested in applying to that RFP. You can see here the submission deadline is January 31st. We'll be notifying folks in February, and then there'll be a lot more community engagement around the site's finalists, right? So then we want to talk to more community residents. We want to understand how this would impact the neighborhoods that they might want to be presenting these in. And we're going to wrap around our folks with the technical assistance from Pallet, as well as other experts in the field. We're already working with Alabama Regional Medical Services, One Roof, Alabama Power, et cetera, to think about how the services will be provided based on what proposals are presented. We would try to come to a final agreement in April that would ultimately allow us to build and launch the program in May. And the way that this works is with this bid, particularly for the micro shelters, to bring this purchase forward, once it is approved, we would coordinate with Pallet Shelters on the delivery time that would be right for us. So we would give them the delivery date, at which point they would bring the pallets to us that we would assemble on site at the time that we ask and request for it. If you go to the next slide, you can see here just some high level around why we're choosing this approach. We're choosing this approach because we understand that community-led interventions create the best and most sustainable impacts for our community. They allow us to build relationships with folks. They allow us to shift ownership and value to our community residents, who are ultimately the experts, as well as our public service partners. And they really allow us to do this type of work that is based in the community in the best possible way. And so by providing this RFP that allows us to respond to their needs, it creates a process that allows us to connect with the experts in our field and really uplift community, which is what we're all here to do and why we do this work at all. And so ultimately, Pallet says that no one should go unsheltered when shelter can be built in a day, and that their villages are to combine dignity, personal space, and the healing of community, which I think is what we all want. And so I'm excited again to bring this forward and look forward to your questions.
Madam President, and to the council, before we open it up for your questions, I do want to acknowledge three groups. The first group I acknowledge, as I call their name, I definitely want them to come forward. Again, we are excited about this opportunity and project. I want to publicly start by thanking Dr. VT, but I want to thank some of her supporting team members, cast and leaders, which includes, in no particular order, Katrina Thomas, head of PEP, as well as Elena Melton, Mayor's Office, Kelvin Datcher, Corey Stallworth, and Don Lupo, who were technically all supposed to come forward when I called their name, but they're being hard-headed. Also want to thank the public. We've had a significant outpouring of response to this. I want to thank the community partners that are already on the ground, who've been doing the work in this space, who are equally excited about this opportunity. And then I want to thank you all collectively. I know there's been a lot of individual conversation, not just with me, but with some of these team members. Councilor Moore, we know some of the things you want to provide and opportunities and ideas you have in your district. Dr. O'Quinn, I think we've been talking about this for 5 years. Oh, actually probably before that. Councilor Pro Tem Smitherman, I know your heart and passion on this, as well as Councilor Hunter. You and I have had some, I guess, outings even in your district. So I know where the council stands on this topic. I know there are some thoughts on next steps. And so, Madam President, we turn it back to you to quarterback us through next steps via questions.
Thank you very much, Mayor Woodfin, and thank you for this team that has put together this package for us for our consideration. I know we do have questions from councilors, so I'll just start.
And then
We'll start with Councilor Abbott.
My microphone, oh, it's now on.
It's on.
Yes, I had several questions. I really appreciate the overview that you've given us of the shelters. And we did receive the cost, which says that it's a year-long contract, but we have to order within 90 days. Is that accurate?
from the PO.
From the purchase order, it says we have to order within 90 days.
Yes, and I believe that's part of our bid process.
Yeah, just to confirm, Madam President, to Councilor Abbott's question, the 90 days is referring to an actual bid process, no different than any bids we do, to actually make sure in the confines of that 90 days, if we breach that 90 days, you have to start the bid process over, which could possibly hijack the price and increase that price as well.
Oh,
but we have,
so
we have an actual year upon the 90-day bid, upon council approval, to actually complete the purchase and have the and have the pallets.
Oh, okay, so we have more time than we were told yesterday, because it sounded like if we didn't order within 3 weeks, we were going to lose the price and it was going to go up.
No, ma'am. Madam President, I do want to clarify the public statement Ms. Abbott made. That was just in, Ms. Abbott, that was in regards to the actual bid process relates to how many days you have.
Okay, so that's good. That's good news. The projected cost of the ongoing operations day to day, who pays for that?
So that's part of our RFP process. So when we release the RFP, we're going to put out to operational providers to put together their programmatic plan for the 12 months. They're going to present a budget with that plan to us that helps us to understand the cost, and then we will work with them on how much will come from our CDBG and our ESG funds that are specifically focused on our most impacted in housing versus how much they will support. It will be in partnership with the providers that are applying to the RFP. And so we don't yet have the cost, but we will have a cost that will then also come before you all once we close the RFP process.
Okay, so do you have projections based on all these other cities where these villages have been put in?
It really varies. It varies based on what folks are doing on their sites. And so there's lots of data out there. There's even data on their sites around what is happening around the country, but it really varies. And so we want to wait to see what those projections are going to be for Birmingham, which really is one of the first in Alabama that would do this work, and one of the first in this region to be able to take up this type of program. And so we really don't have anything comparable to what our region's costs are. So we'll see that once we get those RFPs back.
So you actually have no idea what this might cost?
We have the actual cost to purchase the pallets, Ms. Abbott.
Yeah, I got that.
Similar to your line of questioning yesterday, we are consistent in our response to you. Any number we give you is premature because we actually have to work a process out through the request for proposal. If you're asking, will the city of Birmingham bear the entire cost, the answer is no. Will we be asked to support whoever submits the request? The answer is yes. Through our community block grant dollars, there's already a pot of money that allows us to support this type of service. In addition to that, we expect a provider to have money on the table. In addition to that, I actually think it'll be a minimum of a three-way. I think the private sector will also give. And then I think we'll actually be able to talk to, let's say, for example, our utility companies in a position to drive down costs on an issue we deem is extremely important to community as it relates to what can be offered to offset some costs. And so just at a minimum what I've said, that's at least four type of organizations at the table. But no, we do not have a dollar amount to give you today.
Okay, so who will be responsible for the fit up of the space? If the RFP requires a site to be proposed, will the not-for-profit be in charge of actually the construction, the installation of the sewers and the water and the power to the site, if it doesn't already have those things there, which I doubt that it would? Who is going to do that? Are we going to do it, or are they going to do it?
So we work in partnership with them on being able to build out the site. Some of that Pallet supports us with, some of that the public service provider will do, and some of that will be the responsibility of us that we're bringing forward in partnership to support them. And so that is outlined in the RFP based on what types of layout and services they're providing on their site.
I think in addition to that, Madam President and Council, to Ms. Abbott's question, it's extremely important to note one of the people standing in front of you is Katrina Thomas. PEP is walking lockstep with community development to make sure that all the things from a permitting standpoint, as it relates to housing and all those things you just mentioned, for example, that we are actually in compliance with our ordinance, our local ordinance, as well as state law related to going vertical with this site.
Good. So the ongoing day-to-day operations, once everything's constructed and the pallets are in place and the people are ready to move in, ongoing operations day-to-day will be funded out of the CDBG funds?
Only in portion, Madam President, to the council, to Ms. Abbott's question, only in portion, not 100%, no ma'am.
Okay, so how is the part that's not funded by CDBG going to be funded?
To be determined, as well as our dollars, as well as what the service provider would do, as well as what utilities would do, as well as all the next steps to be determined. That's what the actual request for proposal process is about that goes public at 5 p.m. today.
Okay.
And many of the folks that we've worked with to even develop the concept of this program have been our existing public service providers working in the homelessness space. And so this is, again, a program that builds capacity for our public service providers to do more than what they're doing, but also to continue to bring some of their existing resources to the table.
Okay. So, well, I don't want to take up all the time because I know that I've exceeded my 5 minutes, but I do still have some questions, so I'll just wait and see if other members ask the same questions I was thinking about. So thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Mrs. Abbott. Mr.
And
Moore.
thank you, Mr. Mayor. And thank you,
Moore.
Dr. V.
Thank you, Madam President. I just want to, is it on? Yeah. I just want to say, first of all, thank you. I think that this is a great collective effort of the city to move forward with this initiative. I did have a couple of questions around the criteria for these different sites that will be chosen. How are you all going about choosing the different sites that, you know, people can select for this project to be housed in? Because I know a lot of folks, you know, may be concerned about, you know, that piece. But then also I know that, you know, storms, like we're about to get into, you know, like the rainy season and, you know, a lot of tornadoes, things of that nature. And so making sure that, you know, we can find the best location so that people are not, you know,
blown away?
In harm's way. Yeah.
So just trying to find out if there's some, like, what is the criteria? And then are there flexibilities for these to also be, you know, housed within, you know, structures that may be already standing and unutilized?
Yeah, so the proposal itself is asking the providers to select sites. So we're not selecting the sites. They're going to bring forward a proposal of a site that then, based on the requirements that we've put into our RFP, we are checking to see if they meet the zoning, planning, safety, weather restrictions based on city guidelines and ordinances. And so that, again, is part of the process. And we're only going to be selecting sites that are viable, but we'll be working with folks around how the design and layout would work for the sites that they're bringing forward.
Got you. So let me ask you this then. Are there any sites that have already been identified that probably would be most ideal for this project to be housed in? Because I'm sure, you know, people will come and say, well, I want to do it, you know, in 12 different places, but if we as a city already know where this will be successful, then why not just suggest those?
We have not identified any sites, and that is to support the community-led process and to see what folks are bringing forward, because again, we want to advance and uplift their expertise versus our own thoughts, but it will align with the zoning, planning, ordinances, and the regulatory guidelines of the city, whichever sites that we do select.
Gotcha. And the last question I had, I know that you all stated that, you know, people can get involved by helping to, you know, build out the spaces and doing things of that nature. Just want to, you know, encourage different churches. How would they be able to, you know, also support this project and get involved?
Yeah, so pending the approval today, we'll release the RFP, which we'll send out to everyone widely. We'll also send an email to all of you with those proposals, as well as many of our institutions and folks that we already work with. So folks will be able to see the RFP, see the timeline, and be able to engage, because we'll do a significant community engagement process as we're selecting finalists from this process.
Got you. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Clark.
Thank you, Madam President, and thanks, team. I just want to applaud the administration on taking a compassionate approach and a leadership role in this issue. I know that MBSH is the agency, the kind of the lead agency for coordinating homeless services, and I would assume we give them money and work closely with them in this issue, but I've seen us taking a lot of leadership, the administration taking a lot of leadership and possibly even influencing their response, their work in this area. So I like the idea that you said it's partner-led. I think that's critically important. I guess one of my questions on, just how we implement this and the roles and responsibilities, a lot of which might be answered if we could see the RFP before we voted, but I'll just leave that where it is for now. But will we own the real estate and the units, and the partner lease it from us to operate? Or I'm just concerned about, liability in that, we're not a direct service provider in the homeless, or, really housing either. We usually have someone else who totally owns the housing. Mm-hmm. We might provide financing and so forth. So do we envision retaining ownership of these units once they're deployed in the program?
Madam President, to your colleague's question, it was two parts. The real estate question is to be determined because we don't know the service provider where they'll choose, so we don't know if it'll be.
So we may actually own the
we,
property and lease it to a service provider.
We literally just don't know that part yet. Related to the actual pallets themselves, I'll let the team respond.
Kelvin Datcher, I serve as Deputy Director of Community Development. To that question about owning the units, yes, we will own those units. They have a life cycle of about 10 years. So this pilot program won't go that full lifetime. So one of the reasons pilot was so attractive is that it can be assembled, disassembled, and then redeployed somewhere else. And so hopefully, once we get our lessons learned from this first pilot project and we redeploy them, we'll have the advantage of that kind of lived experience from our partners. But yes, we'll own those units. And in the past, perhaps the most prominent shelter in the city, Firehouse, that was a city building.
Right.
So we have this experience of working with our partners in the community on providing them, and kind of fostering this kind of relationship.
Okay, and we protect ourselves with the proper insurances and all that stuff.
Yes, I actually forgot to name a partner that's been walking with them, and that's the legal department. Attorney Sheffield is present as well. I think around some of those. I think you didn't necessarily frame it in a question form, but you framed it in an actual concern form about liabilities, etc. Only if you want him to respond to that, but.
I just want us to be protected as we enter into this, from liability. This is not a core service area or, our experience is usually working with partners who deliver these services. So
yes, ma'am. I think that's not only yes, this is very, very partner led.
Okay.
And I do think it is one of our core service areas that we want to lean into as far as partnership around and really showing up in this space, because homelessness is critical to the housing work that we do. And so also building our own capacity, right, to do this work with partners around this particular challenge in our community.
I respect that. In terms of a strategic focus area, but, so far we still don't directly provide homeless services. I know Miss Elena is very engaged, but I think, if that's a direction we're going to, like where we'll create some sort of department that provides direct services. No, that's not the direction not direct services. I mean, the availability of housing that supports all across the pathways of housing in our community. And so this is one of our approaches to think about this housing opportunity for
the most chronically homeless along the pathway of housing opportunities.
I respect that and appreciate that.
Right, and our nonprofits, we still do project manage as well, and so we want to be able to build that capacity and continue that capacity.
Okay. All right, I'm just concerned about direct services.
Yes, we're not providing direct services, which is why the partnership in the RFP process is so critical in this program.
And I was hanging on your words, partner-led, so
yes.
I'm all about that. Also, in looking at the contract in Exhibit C, I did, the part that Councilor Abbott pointed out, because I respect that this is the process that's necessary. And I know that when we get these funds from HUD, we are under certain time pressures to deploy them. And so I don't know what all's driving your process, but I appreciate, I'm going to assume that it's something very compelling.
Actually, Madam President, I think that's an important point. Councilor Clark, what's driving it is twofold. One, this is an urgent issue that needs to be addressed, but two, it's actually community-led.
Okay.
We're not going to even pretend like we have all the answers, or that there's only one way to do this. There is no better way to do this, though, in our professional opinion, is in the request for proposal process that allows us to take a extreme deep dive into, I'm going to keep using the word, an actual process, one. Two, where the actual service providers, the professional people on the ground who deal in this work every day, not only have their thoughts and ideas, but can lead in this effort. And then I would say three, an actual community public process where people can come in and continue to share their ideas, share their thoughts, and then we can continue to move forward and bring things before this body to keep this process moving along.
I guess what I'm alluding to is what we were talking about last night. I do feel like we're buying the units without the programmatic answers because the RFP process hasn't gone out yet, so that we have answers. And so that gives me a little cart before the horse feeling, and it almost makes me feel like, we give away some of our leverage in the RFP process because then we're committing to buy these, and we'll actually, have a contract that obligates us to purchase them before we have the partner who's going and the programmatic goals that we're hoping to meet through the RFP process. So we're doing this before that, and I'm not done yet. I'm not asking you to answer that because I feel like you answered that last night, that this is the process that you're putting before us. But I do have concerns about accepting, will we not issue any purchase orders until we have the partner in place and know the number they're trying to work with? So and then if we don't get good response to the RFP and don't feel like anyone submitted a robust enough proposal that does the wraparound we're envisioning and all the more comprehensive approach, will we just, in other words, if a year passes and we haven't gotten, what we want in the way of an RFP or a viable proposal that we can afford to aid in the implementation and feel comfortable that it's going to be done, are we still obligated to buy these things? I guess that's my question.
Yes.
Madam President.
It took me a long time to get it out.
No, you're fine. Madam President, to the council, related to your colleagues' questions and concerns. First of all, to each of you, I think we can stand here and talk about this as long as you want because this is a really important topic.
Yeah.
And so I think these are very valid concerns, very valid questions. I'm going to start and then I'm going to allow them to pick up. We as the team doesn't see too much distance between today's process, which is isolated to the actual purchasing of the pallets via a bid process that has an expiration date. All right, so period. But in close lockstep of that is an actual RFP process that goes public. Now, in regards to that, we want to get that right. And so we agree with you. We're not going to just haphazardly pick somebody. If it doesn't work, no different than any other request for proposal process that have happened in the past or that you've even personally been a part of. If we don't like any of the applicants or they don't meet our standards, we just start over. But we're confident somebody will within that certain year. Now, related to that actual isolated question, what happens after a year in your hypothetical that all things go left?
Yeah, I think to your point and what the mayor has said as well, we've also done a lot of engagement prior to the development of this proposal. So we have spoken with our public service provider partners, with residents experiencing homelessness, and this is something that they want to do and have presented to us ways in which they would think about implementing something like this. So we're also not working, we are doing a full process around how we've even come to develop this proposal. And so to the mayor's point, I think we are very confident that we will have applicants who are excited in taking this up and who have viable programs that they will be proposing.
Madam President, there are two more things to add to, I guess, the series of things that Councilor Clark had brought up. One is, she is correct, post the purchase, there will not be any deployment until a potential provider has satisfied requirements of the request for proposal, and we're in a position to come back before you before actual deployment of these pallets on our ground. In addition to that, there is in the contract the opportunity provisions for that allow cancellation.
Okay, so if we approve this contract today, we are not going to be storing pallets somewhere. We will issue the purchase order with the RFP respondent, and they'll accept delivery or maybe whatever.
Correct.
Or it'll be delivered to the project site in accordance with
Correct.
the build out.
Correct. You asked, I think your question is high risk.
Warehousing a bunch of pallets somewhere.
Yeah. Madam President, to Ms. Clark's question, we're not housing anything, and then it'll be deployed on that site upon approval.
Okay. And then if we don't find an acceptable partner to help us implement this, we don't have to buy them.
Yes.
We don't have to issue a PO to purchase them.
Yes, the glass is very half full. We're Optimus Prime over here.
I'm just trying to get comfortable with the process.
Yes, ma'am.
That's all.
Thank you, Councilor Clark. Councilor Williams.
Thank you, Madam President. I kind of echo Councilor Clark's concerns with the process, but I want to start by saying that, Mr. Mayor, the team that you have that has worked on this, both worked on homelessness issues in the city and specifically this project. Some of my favorite people happen to be standing up here, but also Mr. Datcher. But also, but also for real, I think that while I do have some concerns with the process which Councilor Clark has brought up, I think that this team is second to none, and I'm very impressed with the work that y'all have done. I know that this is not a overnight homework assignment that y'all slapped together in a week. I know that a lot of legwork has been done, and to you, Mr. Mayor, the city of homelessness is a problem that the city, in my view, that the city of Birmingham needs to tackle head on. It affects not only those that are experiencing homelessness, but it affects those that are in the community around them as well. And we owe it to the citizens of Birmingham, whether they be experiencing homelessness or whether they be other members of the community that are neighbors with those experiencing homelessness, that we have something that is proactive, like this program is, and also leverages experts in that field, which would be the nonprofits that we already leverage to some extent, but this would obviously be putting them, giving them to the next level and the support of the city of Birmingham. I think it's, when we talk about what the cost of this is, I think that I'm very glad that we're able to use CDBG dollars for it, and that the cost of this specific pallet program is not coming out of the general fund. I think, and the fact that these dollars are renewable every year from the federal government and earmarked for this, I think is extremely significant that we consider. But I also think that there are a lot of costs that we don't talk about in reference to homelessness. And it's not just the $900,000 of CDBG dollars that we are considering voting on today. But they're real costs to the community, both those that are experiencing homelessness, to the city from an economic development perspective, to the city from Birmingham Fire and Rescue and Birmingham Police, responding to different issues around homelessness because they're the last stopgap that are out there. And so this is a city responsibility, and it is something that we absolutely have to be intentional about addressing. So I want to thank you for getting some of not only my favorite people at City Hall, but such an awesome team to address this, because it is important, and it's important that we be intentional, and it's important that we do it in a way that is equitable for both those that are experiencing homelessness and also balance and leverage everything that we have in terms of assets from our nonprofits, which I think this does. I hope that one question I have, Dr. VT, is with this, we talk about the RFP, can multiple, and I think the answer is yes, but can multiple nonprofits win this RFP, or can this be split between a couple different nonprofits? What does that look like?
Yes, I'm glad you asked that, because we are really being thoughtful about how we can have multiple applicants, and actually would love for there to be multiple applicants, because not only does it address multiple needs of diverse communities across the city, it also allows us the opportunity to have a community of practice where multiple sites can learn from each other at the same time, that we would be bringing together to learn to provide technical assistance from Pallet and other experts. So yes, short answer, yes, and that is really what we want, to see multiple folks apply and for multiple sites to be awarded. Okay, and then my next question is this.
So during this process, I've been reading about this and different vendors, and I think that the statistic was in other cities that have utilized this specific program, that roughly 40% were able to transition into a sustainable living, not emergency shelter, but I guess transition out of homelessness is if that's the correct term, or the PC term, I don't know. But is that correct? And is that the type of percentage that we're going for with this program?
Yes, absolutely. And we think that this approach is going to allow us to do that a little bit better than our traditional emergency shelter transitional programs will do. And so we're hopeful that this will have the opportunity to give us some better outcomes than we've been experiencing.
Yeah, well, if we have roughly 1,000 individuals that are experiencing homelessness at one time in the city of Birmingham, and we're able to transition 40%, hell, if we're able to transition 20%, that would be a huge victory.
It's huge.
For the city of Birmingham, and for obviously those that are experiencing homelessness. So I applaud you guys. I want to also say this. I think it's so important that we utilize the third-party nonprofits and not try to tackle this ourselves.
Absolutely.
I think the city of Birmingham does very few things very well, and that's, we need to stay in our lane of being a local government and providing all of those wraparound services. We have such awesome nonprofits in the city that do a great job of it. I would hate to see us transition into trying to tackle that while we have so many things that we need to tackle as a municipality. But thank you all very much for your work on this and your continued work, and homelessness. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Williams. Dr. O'Quinn.
Good morning. Man, I've got a lot of thoughts, so I'm going to try and keep it concise and be articulate. But I want to start by saying that I'm just incredibly thankful that we're having this conversation. When I came into office in 2017, I really felt like I had a mandate from my constituents to address this issue. Under the Kincaid administration in 2007, Mayor Kincaid convened a commission to develop a plan to end homelessness in Birmingham. And so in 2017, came into office, and we were at that 10-year mark. It was the 10-year plan to end homelessness in Birmingham. And obviously in 2017, we hadn't achieved that goal. So again, I'm just incredibly thankful that, we're embarking on what is really, I feel, a conversation with the community. This is not I want the community to understand that what's being presented is not a neatly packaged, wrapped up, silver bullet solution. It is the beginning of a conversation, and one that every member of the community should feel responsible for having a part in. So, if you leave here today and you have a lot of unanswered questions, that's okay. That's okay. The important thing is that we're embarking on the conversation in a very meaningful way with the with the goal of actually creating a solution that's going to have lasting and positive benefit on people's lives. So, as Councilor Williams spoke to, I want to, there's going to be folks in the community who ask about the cost. And that's okay. I mean, especially for the council, that's part of what we're here to do. But I want to make sure that everyone in the community is aware that homelessness is not free. As taxpayers, homelessness has tremendous cost for the city. You think about especially our first responders, who I would say are, compared to your average citizen, our first responders are engaged at a much higher rate for people who are living on the street. Those individuals are often, end up in the care of the city in terms of our jail. They spend a lot of time in our municipal court and other parts of the municipal judicial system, or county or state or otherwise. So and then when you factor in the impact to surrounding organizations, homeowners, businesses, there's just many impacts, and so in a nutshell, I don't want anyone to be under the impression that doing nothing is cheaper. There's no such thing as not making a choice. The current situation has been a choice not to directly affect a solution for unsheltered homelessness. What we're saying here is that we're making the choice to be actively engaged in affecting a solution to address unsheltered homelessness. So, I think there is a important moral directive here. Personally, I think we need to be doing this simply because it is the right thing to do. And I don't need any more reason than that. However, some people aren't compelled by morality and are going to think about the cost. And please know that it is cheaper to directly engage this and to help get these folks into transitional and permanent supportive housing than it is to leave them to fend for themselves on the street. With regard to the product, I'm actually not very concerned at all about the structure. I think there are any number of people locally, nationally, internationally that can build a tiny home and do it really well. I think what we really need to look at here is this organization's experience in doing this all across the country and being able to know what works to make this type of approach really work. So, there's any number of products available that could fit the bill in terms of being able to provide temporary shelter to folks. But I think what is really important here is, number one, we have a actual legal process that we have to go through to actually do procurement, and that's been fulfilled and brought us to where we are today. But I think there is a lot of institutional knowledge and experience that this company will bring that's infinitely more valuable than the actual product that you'll see erected on these sites. So again, thank you, Mayor Woodfin, to bringing us to this point and for really opening up this conversation, to the community. It's something that I feel the entire community, especially those who are engaged in this work on a daily basis, have been desiring, and just can't, express my profound thanks.
Madam President,
Yes, Mr. Mayor.
I want to thank Dr. O'Quinn for his passion and those very strong comments. I hear this, Madam President and Council, a lot, and I've never said this statement out loud, but I hear other people say it. Perfect or perfection is the enemy of good. Again, valid concerns and questions that each of you are raising on this topic about what's next, costs, etc. But I think this all-star team in front of you, they were intentional about talking to you all individually prior to public meeting, giving you status reports and updates on where we are. We're comfortable standing before you in this public meeting, and I think as this request for proposal process happens, not just sharing with you the document, but literally telling you, keeping you informed, providing you progress reports, status reports, updates. They're not only willing to do, they want to do, to make sure you're informed and the public informed and the community is informed on actual next steps and progress. So we're going to body this up, and we're more than happy to have you all body this up with us in a position to continue to provide you all information so you actually know what's happening in real time.
Thank you, Mayor Woodfin. Councilor Pro Tem.
Yes, thank you, Madam President. I did have a question. I know I've asked this to you all privately. How many units will share a restroom? Did you answer that? Or did I miss that? How many units will share a restroom? The restroom aspect.
We will do 1 2-stall bathroom per 10 units.
Okay. And what about the shower aspect? Where would they shower?
The showers are a part of the bathroom.
Of the bathroom? Okay,
yes.
good. So that's about 2 or 3 people will share a shower. Okay, that's good, because I was thinking about safety reasons, and I was thinking that was brought up a lot in budget and finance, making sure we secure people, because anytime you have a communal bathroom, it doesn't matter where you are. It can be a dorm room, it can be a prison. Honestly, there's always concerns for safety. And it's correct that the goal for this team is to really put it throughout all the districts and not one district in particular. Is that right?
Yes. No, there's no specific location that we're focused on.
Okay, good. Well, I'm very excited to see this, and I really want the public to know this team has been working on this for months. I mean, months. Honestly, they really wanted to bring this to us a lot earlier, but, things happen, and I really want to, just kind of piggyback off of what Dr. Quinn said. There is not one city, honestly, one country that has gotten homelessness right. So you really need to give this team a lot of grace. I don't mean like saying, oh, whatever, like, I really want to commend them for just even trying, right? And I don't think people are emphasizing enough that it's not just about having somewhere to stay with homelessness. It's about the wraparound services. Like, this is really helping people to be job ready, helping people to transition and maybe into a full-time position at a company, right? Because if you have a steady income coming in, you can afford to stay somewhere, right? And you can afford to get food stamps, you can afford to get groceries, you can afford to make sure your kids have the best education. It just goes on and on and on. And so I really want to commend you all, because y'all could literally just put people in houses, be like, okay, that's it, like, we gave you a house, but you guys really are focused on the holistic part of people. And I know Dr. Quinn talked about this, how people aren't considering the cost. They are residents just like us. I think people forget that. They are Birmingham residents just like us. The only difference is they were literally one paycheck away. We are all one paycheck away from being just like the homeless, honestly. And I feel like if they had different situation, maybe they wouldn't be in there. But we have seen a lot of time homeless people have been doctors, right? Professionals, accountants, where just life just happens, right? So, and I really want to commend you all. And Mayor Woodfin said in his social media caption this past Friday is about equity, right? Equitable housing for all. And I think with this administration, this council, we really want the public to know affordable housing is for everybody. We don't matter what your race is, your income is. We want to make sure we can do it. And it's not going to happen overnight. Rome wasn't built overnight, but I want you guys to know we are trying our best to really tackle all these situations. And I think this is really helping people to get back on track to achieve the American dream, right? Because that's why a lot of people come to America, and really, honestly, Birmingham, really, because to be able to help people just become great. And so I really want to commend Mayor Woodfin and this team for not working in silos. That's something Councilor Tay has been talking about. This team has worked with organizations, and Dr. Thomas can list off those organizations. I think that's very important. This isn't just something they got together and got on their computers and did research. They really went out and talked to people, and they started looking to talk to people with these RFPs. And so I really want to commend you all for tapping into different pots of money, because the city, our revenue, we only have as much money as what you guys spend on food or how many businesses come in here. So I really want to commend you all for that. And, Mayor Woodfin, thank you. I don't think people know a lot about the background work you've done, and Don Lupo has said this yesterday. I have called Mayor Woodfin about homelessness situations, and Mayor Wolfen will personally go and talk to the homeless. It doesn't matter where they are. It's a warming station. Go out there and ask them what's wrong. What's going on? How can we help them? He actually has this thing. I don't think he's ever said this publicly. If he sees somebody who's homeless twice, he automatically calls Don Lupo to make sure they have housing for the night. Like, what mayor honestly does that, is that concerned about the homeless like that? So I really want to commend you for that. I want to commend this council for being really just on top of an issue that a lot of people kind of just put in the back of their minds. And I want to thank Madam President, because she is working on, I've talked with her about this, and we said this, about creating a homelessness and housing committee. That way we can have that connection with this administration and the council, and that way we can have a representation of 3 people for the 9 of us to make sure that we are taking whatever concerns we hear from the businesses, because they'll be affected, the churches, and the residents for this issue. So thank you so much, guys, and I think today is a great day.
Thank you very much. Any other? Councilor Woods?
Thank you, Madam President. I don't think there's been an item that we've all talked on in a long time, so get back to the old times. But no, I think homelessness is such a nuanced conversation because people are in that same situation for so many different reasons, and so there's not like a one solution to solve it all. I am excited to start seeing some solutions being put forward to be able to improve on the problem. I know in my area, probably around the World Games or so, we started seeing, actually homeless population, whether it's Gaston Highway, Centerpoint Parkway, folks living in tents, things like that. But I think that, if you talk to some people would be happy to have opportunity for shelter, and some people wouldn't. And so it's just kind of being able to put the transitional pieces in place for the people that want it. And I think that's where you start, and so I'm excited to see that. So, like I said, I'm excited to see that type of progress. I do want to ask about, to make sure I understand the term, and so when we're talking about a 3-year term in this agreement, just trying to get an understanding of what that represents and what, I guess it's Pallet. What's the vendor's name? Pallet, PVC. What their responsibilities will be.
The 3 years or 1 year, to clarify.
Oh, it's 1 year.
So it's got. So I guess you can extend it for up to 2 more additional 1 year. So what is their responsibility outside of just building and delivering the pallets?
Pallets responsibility. Also technical assistance provision. So they are also not only delivering the pallets and assembling them, but also supporting us with technical assistance for the operational wraparound service and the management of pallet shelters as well.
Okay, so we would get a year of technical assistance, and then we could extend that in the future if we wanted to.
That's right.
Okay. Thank you, Madam President.
All right, thank you. Councilor Tate?
I guess I need to chime on in here. I just want to thank the mayor, you all, because I know just having conversation with Councilor Smitherman, and Dr. Quinn, all of you, this has been a thing that most of you all have been working on, prior to me getting here, but kudos to you all, and to Dr. Thomas and that team of experts that are back there. I am so grateful that you all, listen, having conversation with each one of us, because you guys know how I feel about collective building and centering the voices of those that are impacted to be the experts to lead the work. So, I do want to say that I did have an opportunity when myself, Madam President, and Dr. Quinn, that I did go to the pallet not convening, but the
workshop.
The workshop while we were there, and got an opportunity to listen to them and present. And so living across the street from the Salvation Army, myself, the Salvation Army Command Center, I got to commend Dr. Stamps and that team of individuals over there that have done a great job. 'Cause I think one of the biggest things when they were talking about moving the Salvation Army from off 11th Avenue into the community, and I mean, it sits dead where I can walk out my door and walk across the street. They have done an exceptional job. And so I just really want people in Birmingham to just don't think about, if you drop this in my community, we're going to have this problem. We have not experienced a problem with the Salvation Army. They do a very great job with their wraparound services. They have a lot of stuff that they're offering to the community, and people need to take advantage of that. And so we have to really have, compassion. That's just like people, transitioning from prison. It's not an overnight process. Re-entry is not an overnight process. You have to walk people from traumatized situations that they've come out of to make sure that they get the best and to be the best that we want them to be. So I'm forever grateful that we are moving in this direction, and really want, the community, to really just wrap their arms around this and embrace this, because as Councilor Smithman said, we are one check away, and everybody's circumstances are different, and we don't know what happened for people to be in the situations that they're in, but we got to learn to show more love and compassion when, witnessing Damar Hamlin literally cardiac arrest on national TV. So I think that should be like a point in everybody's life where we need to showing more compassion and love, for those that most people look down on, and treat people equally and the same. So thank you all very much.
Thank you. Thank you again to the team and to the counselors that have addressed the issue through questions today. I think we've seen some compassion. We've seen a lot of passion. We've seen a desire to really want to exercise our responsibility to be sure that when we bring projects like this, that they meet not only the needs of the residents, but they are beneficial, again, to just our city. One thing I did make note of during the presentation was just looking at the map of where this process has been before. So I believe Pallet is at PBC. Mainly it looks like it's a lot of work that's done in the West Coast as part of this. So to bring this to the city of Birmingham, I can't think of just what a relief it would be personally, just whenever you think of the cold weather or the conditions, or we see our fellow residents having to camp out up under freeways and things like that. And this is an opportunity. It's not permanent, it's transitional. And so if part of the sustaining piece of this would be to afford our brothers and sisters, our residents, this opportunity to live in a home and to have that wealth and that opportunity to work and to provide for themselves. Being a past member of the board of directors for One Roof, I do know there are situations sometimes when you have to, some people don't want to leave their surroundings. They're comfortable, not so much comfortable with this is the world they know. Is the part of the RFP is that you'll ensure that this provider will have those type of skills and services as part of the RFP process?
Yes, expertise is one of the critical components of the RFP that we'll be looking at as far as how we are grading the application.
Okay, all right. And I believe that we did clear up, there was this question of not so much the sense of urgency, but the timing as a part of you bringing this proposal to us in this manner today, because again, we're considering buying the pallets. I liken it a little bit to, you're already doing this process in some ways with how we rebuild homes, or we assist residents in building their homes, where we use these CBDG money, and then you but you have to go out and you get RFPs or you get bids from contractors. So it's similar to what we're doing already to provide housing or to assist with housing, correct?
That's right.
Okay, so it's sort of not new to you, but it's just another piece of that pie that we can do to help our residents. Okay. Any other questions? I think, Ms. Abbott, you wanted one more set of questions.
Well, you'll be thankful to hear that I don't have a question.
Okay.
I'm going to take my mask off to say to the mayor, thank you for being the mayor who finally did something. Because I've been here long enough to know that we have talked and talked and talked. It's probably why Michelle Farley's not here, is because we've just done so much talking. You know, it wearies people. And the 10-year plan to end homelessness, that was a great plan. And you know what we did with it? We put it on the shelf, and it's covered with dust, or it's already in the landfill. So I want to thank you for being the one who finally got off the dime and did something, because this is good. And I also want to thank my colleagues for asking all of the rest of my questions so that I don't have to ask any more questions, and to remind the public that it is our job to understand what we are approving. It's your money, but it's our job to make sure it gets spent correctly and that we understand what we're getting into. Because, you know, is this a $1 million project? No. Is it a $3 million project? Probably not. Is it a $5 million project? Well, we might be getting closer. We don't want to think that it's a $10 million project, but we have a lot of homeless people. And every single one of our districts, our residents and our businesses are impacted. Public Works, the police department, the fire department, the hospitals, you know, there are so many impacts. So people who say, well, we shouldn't waste money on those folks. Well, listen, you're already spending a lot of money on them that you don't even know about. And just imagine there's a homeless man living under the bridge of I-65 at Green Springs Highway. That man has produced enough garbage to sink a battleship, but it's all behind the fence. So it really looks good. But this is one homeless person, one, and he has just produced this volume of trash that has, you know, slid down the concrete, and now it's down by the fence. So if one homeless person can create that much mess, just think of all these people who are unhoused that have no place to put anything. You know, the problem is just enormous. And so thank you, Mr. Mayor, and thank you to Mr. Mayor's team. I see the excitement in Don Lupo's face. Y'all probably can't see it, but I can see it because I've known Don for a long time. So I just thank you. I think that this is going to be great, and I think that it's a long process. We're not going to buy these pallets and everything's going to be fixed, but it's a start, and it's better than that book on the shelf that's covered with dust. So, thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Clark? Mayor, did you want
Thank you. One quick, that was the plan to end chronic homelessness, by the way, because I was here then. But just want to note that it seems like if this is hugely successful, because our pilot is to do 50, try to deploy 50 in a pilot. But if it's hugely successful, we can order up to 100 at the same cost in this contract.
That's correct.
Okay. That was my only.
Thank you.
I was just trying to understand the 50 and the 100.
Mr. Moore, did you have one?
I was just going to say one thing to just kind of touch on what Councilor Abbott made mention of, the trash piece. Would these sites also get the trash or be a part of the trash pickup program as well?
I'm quite sure that we can definitely.
All right. Just making sure.
Just very quickly, Madam President.
Mr. Mayor.
A lot has been shared, a lot has been said, and we are grateful for the opportunity to stand before you. This is an extremely important topic that's important collectively to all of us. I do want to acknowledge about summation. Two things. There's a team member I left off, and that is acknowledging the purchasing division for the actual item before you today. Carmen Jones and her team are the reason we're able to stand before you today related to the actual procurement of the shelters. So thank you to the purchasing team. And I don't honestly, Ms. Abbott, based on what you shared, I don't want to take any credit. These folk have literally put the legwork in. So again, I want to look at them all publicly and thank them for their extremely hard work. And what you all have said, summation of what you all have said collectively, this is the moral imperative right thing to do. So again, thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you again for your presentation, and we're going to go ahead and call for the vote.
Madam
Yes,
President,
ma'am.
I did want to also say that these pallets would make very nice city council offices.
Well, we.
They have HVAC outside.
Oh, Mr. Clerk, we're ready. Is that right? All right. Thank you. That item passes. Thank you very much. Okay, back to order for back to our agenda. What are we now with our agenda? Okay, thank you so much. Yes. At this time, councilors, we do have one presentation today, and this will be made by Councilor J.T. Moore. And Councilor Moore, if you'll bring your presentation forward, thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you, Madam President. If Ms. Ursula Smith and Charlie Williams, y'all can come to the front, please. Or meet me down at the podium. Council, thank you so very much. Birmingham is very fortunate to have a gym in Miss Ursula Smith and Ursula Smith Dance organization. For the past 20 years, Ursula has been teaching dance to our community. If any of you recall, she even taught our nimble mayor how to put some different moves in place. And so we really enjoyed seeing that. And so wanted to take this time to honor her and present this resolution to Miss Ursula for the amazing work that she's done with the brown sugar nutcracker. Before I read this resolution, I would like to show a quick video just to show everybody some of the great things that she's been able to do.
Liberation, so rich and vibrant you can almost taste it, and the flavor is to be savored. You see, this flavor wasn't crafted in the mines of Sloth's furnace, nor was it yielded from the plantations of Arlington. And honey, it sure didn't arrive on a segregated seat. No, this flavor has a legacy that is drenched in resilience, love, unity, and heritage. The brown family flavor. This flavor can only be described as brown sugar.
Kando mushishini napi Ponce twanyanto mushili wimaki Engineer dokotela wa festa kuma kwezi Kubufumu nobu kumu fyonse
Listen, shout out to Bold as a Lion, Martez Knowles, for making it feel like we were watching the Avengers film. But as you can see, we went from the North Pole to Wakanda to church to the club, all different places. And so I wanted to read this resolution and then give you all an opportunity to speak. And so I won't read the whole entire thing, but whereas it is the sense of this legislative body in keeping with its time-honored traditions to recognize and pay tribute to those who seek to preserve and celebrate the performing arts and musical heritage of our city and state, the Council of the City of Birmingham pauses in its deliberations to commend Ms. Ursula Smith, owner of Ursula Smith Dance Organization, on the production of a highly anticipated event, the Brown Sugar Nutcracker. Whereas since its inception, Ursula Smith Dance Organization has cast 500 children, youth, and adults for the production. They have successfully sold out of every single show with a growing audience of over 5,000 over the past 5 years. Children and youth have represented various cities in the state, including Talladega, Tuscaloosa, Anniston, Gaston, Mobile, and Huntsville. They have also traveled from Atlanta, Georgia, and Tampa, Florida. And whereas for nearly 20 years, Ms. Ursula Smith has offered dance instruction and performance opportunities for Birmingham area children through the Ursula Smith Dance Company. Since 2018, she has choreographed and produced Birmingham's The Brown Sugar Nutcracker, which presents a unique twist by fusing elements of African American culture with the holiday classic. Ursula's life work is to create access, cultural relevance, and representation through dance to local and global communities. And whereas events which provide a means of preserving a part of our rich history and which contributes to the community in such noble endeavors as aforementioned are held in the highest regard by this council, and should be celebrated by all citizens of this great city. Now therefore be it resolved that the Council of the City of Birmingham, with Mayor Randall L. Woodfin concurring, pauses in its deliberations to congratulate Ms. Ursula Smith in recognition of her successful production of the Brown Sugar Nutcracker in 2022, and to wish her continued success in all of her future endeavors. Presented this 10th day of January 2023 at the recommendation of Councilor J.T. Moore. So, just want to say.
Thank you guys. Good morning, and I think Happy New Year is still in order. So I wanted to quickly just say these are tears of joy. I've often been called a daughter of Birmingham, right? I'm not someone that moved here. I'm literally someone that grew up here in this city. And so whereas I've been able to take this concept and to impact a community for generations to come. Each year from 2018, I have taken kids out of every one of your districts, navigating them through a course of 16 to 18 weeks. Some of these kids have never stepped inside of a dance studio. Some of these kids have never been exposed or have access to the arts. And it has been my life's work with the 70% of the population of Birmingham is African American, giving these kids continuous access to the arts. I'm not a doctor, I'm not a lawyer, I'm not a politician. I do not want to do your tough job you do on a daily basis, but what I am, I'm the person who influenced the next doctor, the next lawyer, the next teacher, the next preacher. So it is my highest honor today, and I'm proud of myself. I'm proud of the work that I have been able to do for the city of Birmingham, and it has now grown outside of Birmingham when you have parents driving their kids from Anniston, Gaston, Tuscaloosa, Mobile, Huntsville. You have families traveling as far as South Carolina, Memphis, Mississippi to see this sold out event. We sell out at least 2 to 3 months ahead of our time. So what I am asking you guys to do is to rally behind this project. I represent all of these districts. The kids come from single parent homes to family homes. I'm asking for the support and the continued support from you guys, because arts is important. Arts is a gateway for people to dream, create, and be. And we are, we're 5 years in, on to our 6th year in, and we are, there's a demand on us to take this outside of Birmingham. So I think It is an amazing accomplishment considering the fact that I just started. It was a vision to be more of an impact for children, youth, and adults. So I thank you for your time. Just know that we are expanding and we're growing, and it means the world when you have the city that you labor for behind you, that you have the city that you labor with, you know, in the trenches to support you. So I thank you for your time. Hopefully I'll see you in the dance class. I started with the mayor. That's one of my, prize pupils, Mr. Cedric. I've seen him on the floor a couple of times, so I've done things with the city. Council Quinn, thank you so much for your support over the years and coming. So I'm looking forward to all of you guys, and know that I do community events to keep us engaged and keep us together where we may not agree on certain things. One thing that bring us together is dance and music, right? So I have a father-daughter dance we're doing February the 11th, where the dads, they dress up, they dress their daughters up, and they come out and have an amazing time. We have a couples dance on the February 10th, where couples, they get a chance to come and engage on a different level. Sometimes we go and go and go and go and go and go, and we don't give ourselves an opportunity to dream, create, and be. So I thank you for your time. I thank you for giving me this opportunity, Councilman Moore. I know there's so much that you guys have on your plate, but thank you for carving this time out just to recognize the work that I'm doing. I hope to see you guys soon at my place of instruction for dance. You owe me. Yes, Councilman Moore, Hunter, you owe me too. Yes, I hope to see you guys all. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Councilor Pro Tem.
Now, Ursula, you know I'm finna get you. So a lot of people don't know our relationship, but if you have to say all the 10 of us, I was one of her first babies. So she taught me praise dance at the young age of 7, 8, 9, 10. We going all the way up to high school, right? So Ursula, for a minute, I said, I know she can teach me dance, she can teach anybody else dance. And the way she used to take us, and she really used to instill life in us. And you don't ever think about it, in the church, but it really means a lot to take young girls and teaching them how to praise the Lord in a positive way. And I don't want to offend anybody, but I remember specifically as a young child, you went to Auburn at first, right? A lot of people don't know that. And God called you out of Auburn to do the exact thing that you're standing before us. And our pastor said that he had a vision for you, right? That you were going to be a lead dance instructor for our city, for our state, and the country. And, on the inside, I'm crying because I'm like, wow, I really got to see Ursula really come up on that dream. That's what she is. This is Ursula. It doesn't matter if she's, cracking jokes with us before it's time to go. She used to do that. Y'all make us hype us up before we went out there in the sanctuary to helping kids. So I really am so proud of you. I want to say that publicly. And thank you for all that you do. I personally apologize for not making a show, but I will make sure in 2023 that I make a show. But I just want to know whatever support you need, you have it from me, and just thank you for all that you do, really.
Thank you so much. Thank you. And I will say this, because it's you ask not because you have not, right? And I am to the point now, I need room. These kids I can't even fit them in the space that I have, and I need to expand. So you may see my face again in this setting asking. That's what I need to grow. Our cast this year was 125. It was supposed to be 210. Couldn't take them all for various reasons. So thank you so much. I didn't want to disclose it, but thank you so much for recognizing that. It's so many that I have touched and impacted. So I am humbled and graced. Thank you again. Thank you for your kind words. Thank you.
Thank you so much, and thank you, Councilor Moore, for bringing this extraordinary artist and phenomenal person to us today to honor the work that you do. I was watching the Netflix documentary on Debbie Allen. I said, Debbie Allen ain't got nothing on us. We got Debbie Allen right here in Birmingham. So I thank you, and I appreciate the work that you're doing to bring this art to our children, our black, brown children. I grew up in a time where the Alabama Ballet, I remember the first time they had someone featured in the group for the Nutcracker. And so to see this evolve now into an all African American or minority cast, I appreciate you. And as you said, you need to grow. Let's grow. You sold out before we could get tickets. So, so we need a bigger venue, and we need to help her get somewhere. We got some empty buildings around here, and we can do something. So thank you so much. Appreciate you. Now, Mr. Moore, if you'll do the business of the resolution for us.
Move the item.
We'll move for UC.
I'm sorry.
Second.
All in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Now the item.
Move the item.
Second.
Okay, all in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you.
Thank you very much. At this time, councilors, we will entertain your comments regarding and updates from your district. And I'll start with you, Councilor.
Thank you, Madam President. Tonight, North Pratt neighborhood will meet tonight at 6:30. And this conference call, you can dial in at 605-313-4100. The access code is 1226945. Oak Ridge will meet on Thursday, January the 12th at 4 p.m. That's also on conference call. You can dial in at 952-206-4918. The code is 223418. Hooper City will meet on Thursday as well at 6 p.m. in person at the Hooper City Rec Center located at 3901 4th Street West. You can also join them on conference call by dialing 978-990-5000. The access code is 199737. The next public safety meeting is today at 1 p.m. The next public safety meeting will be January 24th. You can submit your agenda items to Brandon McCray no later than Thursday, January the 19th by 1 p.m. Also, declared your concern for the community in conjunction with the National Baptist Convention is doing an evangelistic rally, soul winning crusade, and that's going to be on Wednesday from 2:30 to 5:30 p.m. in the Smithfield Homes located at 421 Abraham Woods Junior Boulevard. And so they want you guys to come out. Food, prizes, giveaways, gift cards, live music, and ministry. Also, the DA, Mr. Danny Card, is doing his second chance hiring fair. And that is going to be, where's it going to be? Oh, March. I'm sorry. Thank you, Council Pro Tem. It's going to be March the 21st, 2023, and it's going to be at the Boutwell. So be sure to go and check out the second chance job fair with our DA, Danny Carr, who does a great job at putting people back to work that deserve second chances. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you. Councilor Williams.
Thank you, Madam President. The only announcement for District 2 is Roebuck Springs neighborhood will be meeting Thursday, January the 12th at 7 o'clock at their normal spot, New Beginnings Church. And Happy New Year to all of y'all. It's nice to see that we all were very passionate about a topic again. So glad we were able to get that today. So
thank you. Thank you. Councilor O'Quinn.
Yes, ma'am. So just a few announcements about neighborhood association meetings. East Avondale Neighborhood Association will meet tonight at 6 p.m. via conference call. Please call our office at 254-2679 for additional information. East Lake Neighborhood Association will have their monthly meeting held tonight that was held over from last week. That's at 6 p.m. at Household of Faith Church, located at 7501 Division Avenue. And again, this is a rescheduled meeting from last week's cancellation due to inclement weather. Smithfield Neighborhood Association will meet Thursday, January 12th at 6 p.m. at Smithfield Court Community Center. That's located at 805 1st Street North at Smithfield Court. Birmingham Civil Rights Institute on Monday, January 16th, will have free admission in honor of Martin Luther King Jr. Day. Please take advantage of this opportunity. And finally, Mr. Ivor Williams has an announcement regarding his podcast that he's been doing a couple of years. So if you guys would indulge me, just like to make an announcement about that.
Good morning, Mr. Williams.
Thank you, and good morning, everyone. I'm really proud to say that I'm about to start season 3 of my podcast. We're in our second year. I've had almost everybody on except for Miss Abbott. I would love to invite you on the podcast. I hadn't been able to get in touch with her, but I think everybody else has had a great experience. I already have JT, I'm saying names, I should say Councilman Moore to come on. So anyway, season 3 will premiere this Sunday on urbanham.com, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and SoundCloud. And I just wanted to announce that publicly because I was coming up to take some promo shots of LaTanya, Miss Counselor Tate, who will be coming on the following Sunday. So thank you, and thank you, Councilman, for indulging.
Thank you. And does Tate still have to have her joke ready? Is it the same format? You have to start out with a joke. You've already done it? All right. Wonderful. I studied on that joke. Thank you very much. Councilor Quinn.
That concludes my announcements. Thank you.
Councilor Abbott.
Thank you, Madam President. The next Planning and Zoning Committee meeting is this Wednesday, like tomorrow, January 11th at 3:30 p.m. The Neighborhood Association meetings for this evening at 6 p.m. Both Highland Park and East Avondale will be meeting at 6 o'clock. And we continue to ask residents of our district to go to our website for additional information. That's www.bhamdistrict3.com. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Mrs. Abbott. Councilor Moore.
Yes, thank you, Madam President. No neighborhood meetings this week. Birmingham Neighborhood Association officers' inauguration will be January 31st at 6 p.m. at the Balboa Auditorium. I want to say congratulations to all of the new and old officers of the city, and more specifically District 4. The Norwood neighborhood will be hosting their annual MLK Cleanup Day on Monday, January 16th at 2 p.m. We will be meeting at the trolley stop at the corner of 32nd Street North and on Norwood Boulevard. Team Up to Clean Up initiative is back. This is open to everyone this Saturday, something that's hosted by the Woodlawn Business Association. Like I said, this Saturday from 8 to 10 a.m. Will be the first Woodlawn Cleanup Day. The meeting point will be the 55th Place South parking lot. Garbage bags, grabbers, and locations, garbage bags, grabbers will all be provided. On Wednesday, January the 11th, Norwood Elementary will be hosting their spelling bee. The 3rd through 5th grade will start at 9 a.m. Kindergarten will be at 10:30. First grade will be at 12. Second grade will be at 1 p.m. I want to say good luck to all of the participants that will be involved. UAB's mobile market grocery store on wheels will be in Norwood on January the 11th as well. From 2:30 to 4:30 p.m. Come by to shop for healthy and nutritious groceries. Purchasing, of course, is on site, made easy. And for every $1 you spend with your EBT card, you will earn a double buck that can be used on your next produce purchase at the mobile market. This address is 4609 8th Court North. Want to also send thoughts and prayers out to the Roberson family. I know that, they experienced a loss this weekend, this week, and so wanted to send our thoughts and prayers on behalf of them for Mr. James E. Roberson Sr., who passed away. And so that concludes my announcements, Madam
Thank
President.
you so much. Councilor Clark.
Thank you, Madam President. Neighborhood meetings in District 8. Tonight we have the Bellevue Heights neighborhood meeting at 6:30 p.m. In person at Brown Elementary School. Please call my office you can also dial in, and you can get the dial-in information by calling my office. Please remember to wear a mask if you plan to attend in person. Also, the Pratt Inslee Framework Implementation Meeting will take place on Thursday, January 12th at 5 p.m. This time they're meeting at the McAlpine Park Recreation Center. We're going to be revving up our Be Litter Free campaign again for 2023. Our first cleanup of the new year will take place on Saturday, February 11th. We're teaming up with the College Hills neighborhood. We're going to start registration at 9:30, begin our cleanup at 10 a.m., and we're grateful to be continuing to partner with the Black Warrior River Keepers, and we'll provide more details about the meeting place as that's developed. Are you ready to spend more time outdoors but looking for a safe way to do it? You can come to the Starbucks at Crossplex and join me, your neighbors, and a rep from the Freshwater Land Trust for a casual morning walk. We meet each Thursday at about 5 minutes till 8 a.m. to do a 1.5 mile loop, and all paces are welcome. If your New Year's resolution is to develop a green thumb, then you may want to check out the Community Seed Swap on January 21st from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the library at the Birmingham Botanical Gardens. You can discover tips and tricks for growing from seed and chat with other seed savers. You know, I've been thinking about the vegetation out there since we had that big freeze, and I need to go see if there's anything left, because there's hardly anything left in my yard. So I'll have to go see if we still have a botanical gardens. So for more information on that seed swap event, you can go to bbgardens.org/calendar. And that concludes my remarks.
Thank you, Councilor Clark. Councilor Woods.
Thank you. Real quick, the Killer Springs Neighborhood Association meets tonight at Smith Middle School at 6 p.m. Walk with the Doc celebrates its 1-year anniversary this Sunday, January 15th at the East Pinson Valley Walking Track at 2 p.m. And our first Be Litter Free cleanup of 2023 will be held on Monday, January 16th at 9 a.m. We'll be meeting at Rebirth Christian Fellowship. Also, the Government Affairs and Public Information Committee will meet tomorrow at 2 p.m. in council chambers.
Thank you. Councilor Pro Tem?
Yes. Thank you, Madam President. So, as far as announcements, where did it go? The South Titusville neighborhood will meet today at 5:30 p.m. via teleconference call. The call-in number is 602-580-9484, and the access code is 684-6610. Also, the Arlington West End neighborhood will meet today at 6 p.m. at the West End Library, located at 1348 Tuscaloosa Avenue, Birmingham, Alabama 35211. The next Budget and Finance meeting will meet Monday, January 23rd, 2023 at 3:30 p.m. Submissions are due Wednesday, January 18th, 2023 by noon. Email submissions to laquita.wilson@birminghamal.gov. Also, this Saturday from 12 to 4, the Arlington West End Neighborhood Association will host the Library Jam in the parking lot of the West End Library, located at 1348 Tuscaloosa Avenue, Birmingham, Alabama 35201. They will have snacks for the kids, games, activities, so come out. And for more information on exciting events happening in District 6, visit our website at www.d6bham.com. And in advance, happy MLK Day. Thank you.
Thank you very much. At this time, councilors, would like to give you this update for District 7. Today, the Oxmoor Valley Elementary School, their PTA, will be meeting at 5:30 p.m. They'll be meeting at the school library. They're at 3600 Sydney Drive in the Oxmoor Valley neighborhood. The Riley Trevalick Neighborhood Association will meet this afternoon at 6 p.m. and they'll be meeting at the Noble Chapel AME Church, which is 3700 Maple Avenue Southwest. Bulk trash is going to be picked up on Wednesday, January 11th in the Jones Valley, Hillman Park, and West Brownsville neighborhoods. So please get your bulk trash ready for pickup on January 11th. On January 12th, we have 2 neighborhood meetings. They'll be meeting via conference call. That is the West Brownsville Neighborhood Association and the Roosevelt City Neighborhood Association. There's also bulk trash pickup, which is scheduled for the Oxmoor Valley or the Sand Ridge neighborhood. Monday, again, is MLK holiday. It's already been announced about city services for that date. The District 7, we will begin our annual cleanups or monthly cleanups, and we'll have our first one that'll be associated with MLK Day. It's our MLK Day D7 cleanup. We're partnering with the Empowerment Citizens of Birmingham, so registration will start at 9 a.m. on Monday, January 16th. We'll be out there at 3233 37th Street Southwest. Also, don't forget, if you have any pickup that's missed, you can dial 311 and report that to 205-254-6312. There's also the Birmingham Public Library is presenting free tutoring, literacy, and homework help, and that'll be from January 17th through May 4th. That's from 3:30 to 5:30, and that's at the downtown location. The Utilities Technology Committee meeting is scheduled for Tuesday, January 17th. That'll be here 2 o'clock in Council Chambers. And the next Committee of the Whole meeting is scheduled for Wednesday, January 18th, also in Council Chambers at 3:30. As was mentioned already by Councilor Moore, I do want to extend also condolences to the Roberson family. We know fellow colleague of some of you here on the council and was my council representative. This is the father of Mr. Councilor James Roberson. Councilor Roberson taught so many of us at A.G. Gaston Middle School. It was junior high school at that time. And so I've had so many calls and offices of condolences for the Roberson family. He was just such a beloved teacher. He was an activist. He was a car salesman, a graduate of Alabama A&M University, went on and got his JD, and he just meant so much to those of us who entered into his classroom. He wasn't like a traditional teacher, and looking at his age, Mr. Roberson wasn't that much older than the people he was teaching. So I want to think that we helped to, teach him on how to teach, because he really, really was so wonderful to us. So if you would allow me, I would like to offer a resolution of sympathy in honor of the life served by Mr. Roberson.
Second.
All in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye. All right, and now the resolution.
Second.
All in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you. And I have one more item of, and this one is more congratulatory resolution. Emmy award-winning news anchor Sherry Jackson, who is a part of the team at CBS 42, she is celebrating 25 years in broadcast journalism. And it's hard to believe that she's really been there on the desk for that long. And she's just done so much as part of her voice there, and so many accomplishments, and really breaking ground in broadcasting here in the city of Birmingham. I'm reminded of the work that she and I believe Art did during the World Games, and made us look real fancy there, how we had, having them there to talk about the World Games made us really think about the Olympics and how we have presenters there. So if you would allow me, I would like to offer this congratulatory resolution in honor of Ms. Sherry Jackson and her work there at CBS 42.
Second.
All in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Second.
All in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
All right, thank you very much. At this time, Mr. Clerk, I do believe we do have some residents that were signed up
All right,
to
Philip
speak.
Mayweather. Philip Mayweather.
Hey, good morning, Council.
Good morning.
My name is Philip Merriweather, and I'm here with my
You
executive.
just speak up just a little bit.
I'm sorry, can you hear me? All right, my name is Philip Merriweather, and I'm here with my executive director, Dr. Earlene Reynolds, and the director of finance with the Jefferson County, Yolanda Woods with the Jefferson County Child Development Council. I think that all of you at some point have received an email from me, and I just wanted to put a face to the emails and the correspondence that you received. We are currently applying for the old JCCEO grant, and we would like the support of the mayor and the council while we go through competition for the grant so that we continue to provide the upstanding services that we do to our families and our children in the Jefferson County area.
Thank you very much. I do believe we all received the email, so thank you for putting the face with the request. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Eric,
Any questions?
Oh, I'm sorry.
I had a quick question. You mentioned the lady to your left is your executive director. What is your role? I know we spoke on the phone, but I can't remember. Yes.
Oh, I'm the family engagement manager.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you both. Right, Mr. Clerk.
Eric Wynn.
Good morning.
Morning.
I'm tired. My name is Eric Wynn. I'm here because less than 30 days ago, a 12-year-old girl, Adriana Pearson, was shot and killed. She was 12 years old. There is one solution to the violence in this city. Why that person with that solution haven't been given the opportunity by this council to present that solution, to come up with a presentation just like we have came up with presentations to give 50 people $5 million, 50 homeless people $5 million in 50 boxes, and et cetera. We can talk about it all day. Birmingham last year, the beginning of last year, I called our mayor, who I love and respect, in the beginning of 2022, and I said, Randall Woodford, this year going to be the most violent year in the city of Birmingham. I told him that before all these kids been murdered. And the reason why I know that, because I'm from a community, a neighborhood, an environment that Darrell O'Quinn only, you oversee it, but you're not in Gate City. You don't see 7-year-olds, 8-year-olds being conditioned to kill. You don't see 12-year-olds, 3-year-olds being conditioned to kill every day. That's why I started a movement to spread a message, to unite them, because the music that they're listening to over and over and over is conditioning them to kill. And I'm not coming here for nothing. I don't want nothing. I want a chance to speak. I told the mayor with that conversation about Birmingham being the most violent city this year that I'm prepared to do whatever it takes to spread this message to kids all over this city. If that means trapping this bitch out, I don't care what it means. I'm doing whatever it takes to stop little kids from getting shot in the head. I come up here because not for y'all, for the people that's watching. Y'all see what they doing with y'all money. Y'all see the kids getting shot and killed. It's only black children, one Hispanic. Birmingham is one city in Jefferson County. The whole county is not violent. Vestavia is not violent. Irondale and all these other cities in Jefferson County is not violent. Birmingham is extremely violent. We have a murder rate of 76.9. Now, nobody has ever came up here and said that because nobody has that information. The murder rate in 2022 was 76.9. That's the highest in the nation. That means Birmingham is the most violent city in the nation. Why? Am I not being allowed to speak, but I can have a private conversation with Rhonda Woodford about what we're going to do with violence, but I can't come up here with a presentation? I'm the only leader in this county, and I just ate lunch with the sheriff and the DA of Bessemer, Lenise Watson, yesterday, that's comfortable being in these environments where these kids are being conditioned to kill. These kids are being, in y'all districts, are being conditioned at 3 years old to shoot and kill. And ain't nothing in this city is doing anything. Where they boxes at? I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna do it. I don't need no help from none of y'all. I work for Mercedes. They're gonna give us $500,000. You know what I'm gonna do with that? I'm gonna drill the messenger unit in these kids. And y'all gonna watch me doing. Y'all sit up here in these pretty suits and y'all watch these kids die. The girl died less than 30 days ago.
Thank you, Mr. Wynn.
Less than 30, y'all don't do.
Mr. Clerk.
You don't wanna listen to me?
Paul, is it got
You don't wanna listen to me? Y'all wanna talk about everything but the violence.
Will we please get
This is the most violent city in America. I have a solution. Are y'all willing to listen? Are y'all willing to just listen? I'm gone. Y'all ain't even willing to listen.
Next speaker, please.
Paul Godby, and you have to excuse me. I have a cold, so I may cough or something. I want to talk about the tiny homes, the pallet PVC here, and I've done a lot of study on this for the past few years, and the tiny homes situation is successful when it's coupled with a program, a sustained program, what you call wraparound services. If you try to give a shelter to a homeless person, you're not necessarily guaranteeing that they're going to get out of homelessness. I have seen homeless people get affordable housing, but they keep acting homeless. They keep doing drugs. They invite in other homeless people. And some of the more aggressive drug dealers will try to take over the apartment and force them out. So the tiny homes things by itself can have a great deal of problems. If you're going to put something in your RFP, you better put something in with security and something in about having to pass a drug test. Because I've seen homeless people around here on 5 Points asking for money, and they're all saintly and nice. Oh, thank you, have a blessed day. And they're right down here a few blocks away buying crack cocaine. Now, if your rates that Mr. Hunter said is like 40% success rates, well, does that mean you're having 60% where you're enabling drug use, or 60% enabling alcohol or criminal activity? I don't think the city needs to spend that money for that sort of thing. So this is going to have to be looked at a lot more carefully here, that you're actually not causing more problems than you're trying to create. Because the 50 units or even 100 units is actually too small for the homeless population here. And you're going to end up having a great deal more problems because of this. So, thank you.
Thank you.
And also, I've talked with some business people here about a plan, and they like the plan, and I've spoken with several of the counselors individually about this too, so you know what I'm talking about. So, you know, it's a bigger issue than what this can carry out.
All right, Dr. Quinn.
Yeah, this is just a general comment, not necessarily for you, Mr. Godby. As I said earlier, this is I think a community conversation, and one that everyone should feel ownership of and be a part of. At the same time, I do feel it necessary to employ the community to recognize the fact that the people who are working on this, and even the people who sit on this council, we do come to the conversation with knowledge. And, I think I would encourage the community to be careful of their assumptions. Please give the people who are working on this issue the benefit of being intelligent and starting from a position of looking at best practices and data. So as part of any conversation, especially when it's, a public conversation, I think people come to those conversations with, different perspectives and different life experiences. But please know that, the people who are working on this issue do come with a broad perspective and are not just trivially embarking on creating a solution. So, some of the things that I've heard, mentioned as concerns, quite frankly, I'm not saying, with respect to the comments that I've made here this morning, but, some of the concerns that have been raised are, I'm just going to put it frankly, insulting to my intelligence. yes, we are thinking about this from the perspective of best practices and providing security and wraparound services and impact on the surrounding communities. Please give us the benefit of being thinking, intelligent people, and we're not here, in the business of mandating, things that aren't given careful consideration, and so I just feel like it's necessary to say that. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. At this time, councilors, we do want to thank our officers on duty today, Cedric Pinkert, Christopher Qualthrow, and Daryl Freeman. Thank you so much for your service. At this time, councilors, we'll entertain a motion. To adjourn. All right.